Hey, welcome back to Planet Hex. I'm Andrew Haunt. Physical media is still in the news. It's still being discussed all over the world, and quite rightly so. There is streaming fatigue. People are getting fed up of having to rely on streaming services where you don't own anything, and you just end up paying more and more and more for the big pile of them. So let's go have a look at what I found this week in terms of news about physical media, both good and bad. So I'm not just trying to skew this so it's just like physical media is the best thing ever. I think it is, but I know other people may have different opinions. Let's have a look at some of the stories I found this week for you. So the first one I got here, actually the first two are both videos over on the BBC. I do recommend this entirely. We've got one here, Is It Time to Bring Back Our Old VHS Tapes? And one about the Isle of Wight, where there is a VHS store open in the Isle of Wight. Do you go and find those on bbc.co.uk straight away. They're only like a minute long, but they are really worth your time. Over on boingboing.net, I used to love Boing Boing. I don't visit there enough anymore. I should really start revisiting there because they appear to be publishing stuff that's pretty cool. Such as this piece, Lost VHS Promos from the Twilight of the Arcade Era. This is a cool one for the gaming fans out there. I know there's a lot of crossover with my audience and gaming fans. Do check out this over. This is where a guy called Brian Peake scanned and shared his collection of gaming promotional VHS cassettes. So gaming and VHS in one post. And there's a load of stuff here that you guys would probably find quite entertaining. And always worth a look when there's just weird physical media stuff around. Do take a look at that. That's over on boingboing.net, which links to brianpeake.com. Next thing I found for you was this piece here. I started buying DVDs again and instantly remembered 4 things I hate about physical media. This is on howtogeek.com, and this is one of those pieces where and you can take it with a pinch of salt, because some of the things to complain about here, such as where do I put all these cases? Where do I store all these discs? These cases are taking over. That's part of the appeal of physical media, mate. That's one of the good things, where you can see your collection spread out before you, and you can pick at your leisure what you would like to peruse that evening. It's an interesting piece. You know, those old discounted DVDs are often very scratched. Look at them. Whenever I pick up DVDs, even if they're cheap, it takes you 2 seconds to take a quick look at the back, and you know if you're going to get a scratch disc. So there's some arguments against physical media here on this particular video, but hey, nobody's perfect. But this is worth a look. So IGN.com has news about the ongoing controversy from Sony ending physical discs with the PlayStation. No disc, no buy comments dominate Sony's Phantom Blade Zero State of Play livestream as planned PlayStation boycott nears. Just rolls off the tongue, that headline, doesn't it? But there is a boycott coming of PlayStation against the end of physical discs, and I think people are starting to wake up more to the fact that if you don't have a disc, if you don't have some form of physical item, you're never going to own the thing you're paying for, and that sucks. That really sucks. That's not selling, that's renting. So do take a look on that over on IGN.com, and over on IndieWire.com. We've got a great piece here that I missed from July. Physical media matters now more than ever. How Hollywood lost the public's trust to preserve film and TV history on its own terms. And I do feel like this brings up some interesting stuff here. I do feel like the public is taking some ownership of these things back. You know, we can't dictate what gets made, but we can dictate how we consume these things. And physical media, you own it. I've said this many times, you own the thing you've bought, and that's yours for good. As long as you have a player, you can still play that movie. That'll probably be the next thing. We'll probably have to start renting digital players. I guess that's what Netflix is, though, isn't it? Really, streaming. I'm tired, leave me alone. But that's over on IndieWire.com, and then we've got over on PopSci.com, POPSCI.com, Popular Science. We've got another mention of those free blockbusters that have been popping up around America, and I wish these would show up around England. If there are some, please do let me know where you've seen them, because I would love to know where they are. So free blockbusters popping up to bring back physical media. Think a free little library, but for Friday night movie marathons. And I just like that there's a selection of stuff in a free blockbuster. So if you want to read on that, it's over on popsci.com. One that I quite liked here. What was the first album released on CD back in 1982? This is this is one of those like trivia questions that comes up. You know, what was like the last excuse me, what was the last VHS player made? It was a Funai, as far as I'm aware. I have one over there. This is not just a cool little fun fact. This is a fun fact. Fun facts rarely have fun and don't always have the fact, but this is quite a cool one. So what was the first album released on CD back in 1982? Gives you a bit of history on CDs and so on. I remember what my first one was. My first album I bought on CD was Power Slave by Iron Maiden. Loved that. So there you go. In the summer of 1982, the music of Polish pianist Frederick Chopin was put onto CD, played by fellow piano master Claudio Arrau. And that takes the title for the first commercial CD that was ever created. It was a collection of Chopin pieces. Nice. That could be a lot worse. But there's some more information on that over on faroutmagazine.co.uk. There's a good piece here on Pocket Lint. Pocket-lint.com. How to support physical media. Every way you can support physical media right now. This is a nice thoughtful piece on how we can keep physical media alive, how we can continue to enjoy it and collect it, and let releasing companies and distributors know that it is important to us. So that's a recommended piece there that you may find rather interesting. Again, bringing up the fact that we don't have ownership over anything that we're paying streaming fees for at all, and that's not ideal. You know, like there's I see the Lord of the Rings there. There's the guy complaining that copies of Lord of the Rings from his digital library that he'd paid for were removed by the streaming service that he was using, just because they didn't have the rights to have it anymore. And that can happen all over the place. You can't gather a nice library of stuff that you've visited and then just revisit it at random, because if you go through old things that you streamed, a bunch of them aren't going to be there anymore, unfortunately. So we've also got over on t3.com, Let's Get Physical. The brand's helping us fall in love with physical media all over again. You can see there's a wide variety of stuff being talked about at the moment about this, about the resurgence, about a growing interest in it, and a growing distaste for streaming. And I share that distaste. I do stream. I've got a load of streaming services to match the stuff that myself and the kids want to watch. But we don't shy away from the physical media library. We've got Blu-rays and VHS and DVD. And why not? Why not? These things have stuck with me for decades. A lot of the DVDs I've got and most of the VHS I've got have come with me through stages of life. It's not something I've got on a whim, and just had lying around. So that's a good piece over on t3.com. We've also got here a nice story on cbc.ca. Flipping burgers and VHS tapes, why this London restaurant is now a video rental shop. Half-Life rents and sells a mix of DVDs, VHS tapes, CDs and books. And I love the sound of that. This is London in Canada, by the way, so don't go and try and find it. But I love the idea of this, just an independent store selling stuff that people enjoy, and people do still enjoy, and there is still a demand for these things, which is being proven more and more each week that I talk about these things. Cool little excuse me, I've got two stories here about a device that I'm going to finish on that sounds really cool. This is the Blue Hub, a 9-in-1 USB dock with a Blu-ray drive. Just smashed its Kickstarter goal by 300 times as backers succumb to dongle fatigue, and physical media nostalgia. But it's getting to the point where this nostalgia is not just nostalgia. This is something else. This is a movement, and this is a growing distaste for not owning the things that we like money out for. You know, money is not hard to come by, especially in the current climate, and we should be able to own the things that we have paid money for, that paid our currency that we've earned for, and not just borrow for a bit. So this is a great external drive that has a load of features. Do go and check this out. It's on techradar.com, and the other piece that I've got up as a companion for this is on tomshardware.com, which is a few days older, but again, it's a good piece with a good rundown of what we've got on there. There's the specifications for the hub, and how it can be used. And it's just nice to see that these things are out there, and it's always a pleasure to see that there's still an interest in physical media, preserving physical media, just the films themselves, but also the ways that we can continue to enjoy this media at our own leisure, on our own terms, not having to put up with an algorithm. Anyway, told you so. Physical media is still is a subject still being discussed by many far and wide across the world. And it's only going to get bigger, folks. I'm Andrew Horn. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Planet Hex.